Artificial intelligence is not a subject for India anymore. It's a matter of implementation, which India as a nation is implementing. I think the skill that I would like all the students to acquire is solutioning. So basically an analytical mind with that solutioning motive is something which will make the students better students. Somebody is earning more, somebody is earning less. And then the people start thinking, what wrong have I done? So the education now has to look at the value system imbibing in the education design delivery process far more than what it was done earlier.
Namaskar sir, welcome to Assam Downtown University.
Namaskar.
A very warm good afternoon. To all viewers, welcome to this podcast on the sustainable futures with the engineering leadership. We have with us a very eminent personality today in the Assam Downtown University, Professor Dr. Sunil Rai, who is a senior advisor of sustainable energy transition. Indeed, it's an honor and privilege for me to be over here to be having this podcast with the Honorable Sir. As Professor Dr. Sunil Rai himself, he has an illustrious career of 42 years, 21 years in the Indian Navy, 20 plus years in the academia in leadership positions, and 2 years in the corporate. He is the Chancellor of University of Petroleum and Energy Studies at Dehradun, and prior to that he was also the Vice Chancellor at MIT AdtU University in Pune. He was also on the board of Maharashtra IT Corporation, and before that he has held various positions in the academic institutions, in the leadership positions as Vice Chancellor, Pro Vice Chancellor, Dean, Director, and so on. And he has held a very long stint of 21 years in the Indian Navy, our defense, at various capacities, and he is an institution builder himself. Professor Dr. Sunil Rai, he has encouraged, motivated faculty, staff and the students, and wherever he has worked, he has built these universities and institutions to huge brands. Professor Dr. Sunil Rai has a PhD in Business Continuity Management from BITS Pilani, Master of Technology in Computer Science and Engineering from IIT Bombay, MBA and HR from IGNOU, Master of Engineering from the Naval College of Engineering, Lonavala, and Bachelor's from the Jawaharlal Nehru University in New Delhi. Professor Dr. Sunil Rai is also on the board of outreach programs of the Virginia Polytechnic University. Also, he is a co-founder of strategic consulting firm which is providing strategic consultancy to the various industrial and academic institutions. And it is indeed a privilege and honor for all of us at the Assam Downtown University to be having such an illustrious personality amongst us today, and we are so happy to be actually taking up the podcast with the theme Leadership, Engineering and Technology for the Sustainable Futures with none other than the Senior Advisor for the Sustainable Energy Transition. Namaskar sir, welcome once again. Thank you so much, and let me move quickly with the podcast. Let us start with your early career and the foundational days, sir. So how did you get the opportunity to join the Indian Navy, as well as like what drew the attention, your attention to join the Indian Navy, sir?
Thank you very much. At the outset, I would like to thank the Assam Downtown University management, the Chancellor, the Managing Trustee, the Vice Chancellor and all the senior management for giving me this opportunity to be here at the Downtown University. I also thank you, Professor Rao,
thank you, sir,
for getting me into this podcast. I am delighted to be here. Now on the question that what drew me to Navy, I come from a small town called Bina. My father was a railway driver. Since there were no English medium schools after 5th, I was sent to Sainik School in MP, which is a place called Rewa. So Sainik School Rewa now is big prominent today because the alumni are doing very well. Two of our alumni, the whole nation is very proud of. The Chief of Army Staff is from the General Upendra is from the Sainik School Rewa, and Admiral Dinesh Tripathi, the Naval Chief, is also from Sainik School Rewa. Both of them come from the same class, same village in Rewa. So I went to the Sainik School in 1969, and from there I joined the National Defence Academy in 75, and there I could choose Army, Navy or Air Force. I chose Navy because my father wanted me to. I had not seen sea, I had not seen ships, but those days it were parents who used to decide. So it was my father who wanted me to join the Indian Navy, and so when I joined NDA as a naval cadet, and after successful stint at NDA, proud to share with you that I was the gold medalist at Sainik School. I was also the best naval cadet in NDA, and then joined the Indian Navy. And in the Indian Navy I topped the course, so I was given the choice to be either in the fighting branch or get into the technical branch. There again it was my father who wanted me to be in the technical branch, so I joined the technical branch and went to the Naval College of Engineering. I did mechanical engineering there and then specialized in marine engineering from the same college. In 1983 I was then put into service. So in the Navy I have served on several ships of various kinds. Basically my specialization was steam turbines and diesel engines. So I have served on ships like Vikrant, on Nilgiri, Himgiri, oil tanker Shakti, Coast Guard ship Veera, and also a ocean going survey ship Nirdeshak. So there had been a variety of postings. In Navy I would divide my experiences into three categories. One was running the ships, which I just now told you. So I served as several capacity as senior engineer, as chief engineer in the ships. The second one was basically into naval projects. So several naval projects have been, I have been a team, I have also led them. Was in the area of computerization in the Navy. These were also in the area of advancements of equipment, whether it was dockyard equipment or equipment in the ships. Also changing the way the Navy used to maintain ships from planned preventive maintenance to condition-based maintenance. And so several projects that I have headed. And third one was the training. So I had been the chief instructor at my alma mater, Naval College of Engineering, where I used to teach steam turbines, I used to teach propulsion systems, I used to teach control systems. I've headed the computers and controls wing. So it had been a very fulfilling experience. When I came out of the Navy, I was holding the rank of commander.
Oh, fantastic, sir. Fantastic. In fact, all the while it has been like taught to us, look up to the sky, but now I can also learn from you, like look up to the sea. Definitely a very, very worthwhile career, such an illustrious career in the Indian Navy. Well, I just wanted to ask you, sir, like, of course, as you said rightly, you have held various positions, prestigious positions in the Indian Navy, both in terms of handling the ships, be it in terms of computerization or the preventive maintenance and predictive maintenance, and of course going to teaching and all that. And then finally, of course, how you have held various positions in leadership beyond once you came out of Indian Navy. So how did it actually, the entire experience of the Indian Navy, how did it shape you into taking up the leadership positions, or how you got actually evolved into being a leader after you have actually left the defense and joined as a leader in the institutions and organizations?
I have been very fortunate to go through the kind of training that I have gone through. Sainik School, National Defence Academy and Indian Navy. Now this was a very logical sequence. Things that come out to you when you go to such places, which I just now mentioned, was that one is it brings in a discipline for life in you. So the number one quality is that of discipline. Discipline, as people understand, is not about marching or punctuality or things. Discipline actually, in my view, is a commitment which you make to yourself and live with it. And that's one characteristic which every leader should have. So that is one thing which the defense service ingrains you. The second aspect has been the variety of situations which the defense services put you into. So suddenly you are a maintenance engineer, then suddenly you become a design engineer, you are working with computers, you are doing analysis, you are erecting machinery, you are doing project management, you are doing teaching. So the variety of exposure that the defense forces give, and Indian Navy in particular, is the second reason of, which grooms people for leadership. Because leadership is all about handling different situations efficiently. The third aspect has been the technological brilliance which the Navy in particular, and today the entire defense force talks about. Is I think you have to be having your finger on the pulse of technology today if you have to be a great leader. And finally, it is that spirit of hard work, honesty, integrity, and never say die attitude. So these were few of the things which prepared me to take on leadership roles, and which I have been able to fulfill well.
Fantastic, sir. I think honesty, integrity, and never say die attitude. Definitely, I think these are the mantra that our youngsters also should imbibe with them. And well, my third question, in fact, I got the answers from your previous discussion as well. I just wanted to, I'm also very curious, like our viewers, like after taking up the stint at Indian Navy, you obviously moved into academia. So we were thinking of like what actually motivated you, but you said, of course, you have been carrying out the various tasks, like even undertaking teaching during your tenure at the Navy and all that. So anything, sir, you would like to add on, like what really motivated you to come to academia rather than taking up corporate after your tenure at the Indian Navy?
So two things basically. One is that engineering has been my profession.
Exactly.
But teaching had been my passion. So while in the Navy also, I used to keep teaching, teach computers, teach human resource management to people in the evening. And so I had been teaching as a part-time teacher in institutions whichever allowed me, and where the service allowed me to go and teach. So whether it was, I used to teach in Narsi Monji, I used to teach in datamatics, informatics, etc. So one is my passion for teaching along with the profession. That was number one. And the second one is basically in my life, and I always tell my students, is that many times you cannot choose what you want to do. Many times things are, it's the destiny which brings situations to you. The second one was I was destined to possibly get into teaching. In between, for 2 years, I was in corporate. I moved from Indian Navy to Goa Shipyard, which is a shipbuilding yard. So it was like an intra-ministry transfer, because from Department of Defense, I moved to Department of Defense Production. And I was given an option that you can come out of uniform, so I chose to come out of uniform because I had been putting on the uniform for 30 years, Sainik School, NDA, Navy. So I said, now perhaps is the time that let me see the other side of the world. So I went to Goa Shipyard for implementing enterprise solutions. Very successful stint, very challenging task, but I could meet it thanks to the qualities that I could pick up in the Indian Navy. I could be successful as a DGM MIS in Goa Shipyard. Now, as I was saying, it was providence that put me to academics. So by then, because of my handling computer projects in the Navy, that my background was from IIT Bombay in computer science and engineering, and that I had successfully implemented an enterprise solution in a major shipyard in the country, I was getting opportunity to join the corporate, which I wanted to after my task was over there, was to basically get into computer science, computers job. I had all the good jobs, but they were either in Bangalore, Hyderabad or Chennai, whereas my family was settled in Mumbai. So I wanted to get back to Mumbai. And there were no IT jobs coming my way as far as the city of Mumbai was concerned. I was getting jobs into other corporate, like Chorus wanted me to join as a works manager. But then I thought that I should continue. While I was debating all that, suddenly I got a call from SP Jain Institute of Management. They said that you have applied to us. Why don't you come for an interaction tomorrow? So then I asked them, what is this company? They said, no, we are SP Jain. So I said, anyway, I had never heard of you, but what do you make? So then the lady got annoyed on the other side. She said, are you joking? We are SP Jain Institute of Management. We are a B school. And so what do you want? What do you mean when you say what do you make? So I said, then madam, what is a B school? Because I did not know that a management college is called a B school. See, in the Navy, we were just calling it a management college. So this is how it happened. Then I realized, I said, madam, that I have never applied to you. But I will never apply to any educational institution. But I will come and meet you tomorrow. So I went. And then she said, how do you say you haven't applied? Here is your application. So the reason was that while I was in Goa, I told my colleague that you please look at grey pages, and wherever there is a job of general manager, project manager, please apply. So there was this advertisement which read wanted faculty for project managers, project directors, and the project director was small, big, and faculty was made small by mistake by the advertiser. So I thought that the position was for project director, whereas it was for faculty. So that is how I landed up for that. But then she said, sir, now that you have come, why don't you face the process? I faced the process, they liked me, I joined them, and the rest of it is history. This is how I moved to academics.
Fantastic, sir. History due to destiny. Yeah, I think fantastic.
Yeah.
So, so let me move on to after the basic introduction, let me move on to the academic leadership that you have held, the vision that you have carried on and all that, sir. You have held, of course, you are the Chancellor, you have held positions like Vice Chancellor, Pro Vice Chancellor, Dean, Director and many more. What is actually the most rewarding part of the entire tenure during the academic leadership that you have held?
I think being a teacher, and I will like to tell this to all my colleagues who are in the teaching fraternity, I think teaching is a lifetime opportunity. Many times we don't consider it like this in India because there is nothing more satisfying than touching lives.
Yes.
And being at very premium institutions that I have served, SP Jain, which is top 10 in the country, Narsi Monji, and Goa Institute of Management where I was the director, and the 3 universities where I served, the Kaziranga University in Assam, the AdtU University in Pune, and UPS in Dehradun. Now, in all these great institutions that you serve, I had been working very closely with my students. I am a students professor, that I will take pride in saying so. It has never happened that I have traveled to say big places like if I've gone to New York, Washington or London or Frankfurt or places like Berlin. It has never happened that I have traveled to these places 5 times and 3 times some hand has not come on my shoulder saying, sir, you taught me at SP Jain, I am Vice President so and so, I am General Manager so and so. It feels so great when you find your students doing so well. So working with students, making your small contributions in the progress of nation and society is something which I think has been a greatest gift to me in my academic career.
Fantastic, sir. Glad to hear that. The most rewarding part is like interacting and engaging ourselves with the students. Thank you so much. Just want to also, I think in continuation with what you said, as you have rightly said, you have worked with so many great institutions, and how has your leadership qualities evolved as you actually moved on from one university to the another? So anything, sir?
Yeah, so basically what happens is every institution has a story. Every institution has got something great to offer. So when I was at SP Jain, I started as assistant professor and then rose to the director there. The basic thing that I learned there had been the academic rigor. See, unless you have academic rigor, you are not able to, your your students will do well only if there has been an academic rigor. So SP Jain was a good training ground in creating programs, delivering programs which are of high academic rigor, well researched, well designed, well executed, well evaluated. So I think SP Jain was a big foundational training ground for me. It also exposed me to international education, where I worked. You mentioned in my introduction, I worked with Virginia Polytechnic in Blacksburg, USA. I worked with Kennesaw State University in Atlanta. I worked with INSEAD in France, UCLA in Los Angeles in California, and of course Singapore Management University in Singapore. I have set up institutions in Dubai and Singapore while being at SP Jain. So this whole thing about international exposure, understanding international academics, working with quality institutions, exposed me to high quality education internationally. So I think good foundation and good international education was the takeaway from the SP Jain. It continued when I was with Narsi Monji but when I came to university system, there were very different kind of challenges. One was to set up the university in line with the UGC provisions. 3 universities of there where I served, 2 of them, I got their approvals in section 2F. So actually it was like founded those 2 universities. Then understanding the entire university system about the regulations of the UGC system, about what are statutes, what are ordinances, they are a little different from. So I think the second thing that had been happening was about the administration, which is in conformity with the regulations of the country. I served on board, served as the General Council member, which is the board of NBA, National Body of Accreditation, which I served for 7 years, where I was exposed to the academic quality, how is quality understood, how is quality evaluated, how is quality enhanced, has been that one. And finally about creating institutions, creating several centers of excellence, creating labs, whether it was in ADT, I created the incubator, the Atal Incubation Center. In UPS, we have created at least 5 to 6 centers of excellence that I have done. In Kaziranga University here, I had actually set up the university. It was a brand new university and we set up. So setting up a academic institution takes a very different kind of exposure and leadership than, let's say, corporate or defense that I was exposed to. Is basically when you are dealing with lives, when you are in education leadership. So I think basically successively what I have learned in institutions is scale and scope. One was that fortunately from my growth, Kaziranga from 2,500 students to 7,000 students at MIT ADT to 17,000 students here in UPS scale. Scope was that from 5 schools in Kaziranga University to 12 schools in ADT to effectively more than 20 schools as far as UPS is concerned, though by administrative there were only 8, but very different kind of programs. So somewhere I learned engineering, which was my forte, management and engineering where I was trained, but then I was not trained for design. I learned it at MIT ADT, which was the design is their center term. Design, then even performing arts, fine arts. I wrote syllabus for films program. I wrote syllabus for Kathak dance, for singing, Hindustani vocal and all that at ADT. Never done in my life, and nobody knew how to write a program. Easier to write a syllabus for, let us say, quantum physics, but difficult to do a program for, let us say, Kathak dance. So all these were different, and then when I came to UPS, it was law, because I had never been exposed to law, liberal studies, modern media. So I think successively exposure to various kinds of discipline, and various geographies, various kinds of people, various kinds of challenges make you leadership.
Thank you, sir. Fantastic. I can really catch up with the words like scale and scope, as you rightly mentioned, and the kind of experience you have really enmassed over a period of time, be starting right away from technology, engineering to management, and then going beyond arts, design, and many performing arts, and many more. In fact, what I also liked about the theme that you have stressed upon on the education that we are providing to the students, rigor and all that. I wanted to ask this question related to your philosophy of the quality of education that we need to deliver to our students in the current Indian context, sir.
Basically, there are 2-3 things to consider when we talk of quality of education. One, that the world has seen a lot of change from up to 2000 and then from 2000 to 2020 and beyond. It's a very different world. When you talk of economics, you talk of international relations, you talk of technology, the world is quite different. Now we live with technology, you don't carry your purse these days because you make all your payments using your mobile. In fact, if you carry your mobile, you have carried everything, you don't have to do anything. So things have changed. The markets are changing, the nation and society has changed. When I went to school in primary, we were third world poor country. India was a third world poor country, underdeveloped. By the time I came to Navy, and then India started becoming a developing country, but still people not taking serious. 2000 beyond, then suddenly people started saying India is a big market and India cannot be. And then there were people who made a big name like Professor C.K. Prahlad and many other illuminaries. Last 5 years has catapulted India into a very different orbit. Name a facet of life and we are in top 5. Space research, defense, manufacturing, anything you talk of. Medical sciences, pharma, we are now top 2 in pharma now in the country as a nation. So what has happened is that we are not followers anymore, we have become now leaders. And we just demonstrated in the war that we fought for briefly that how strong technology can make a difference. Artificial intelligence is not a subject for India anymore. It's a matter of implementation, which India as a nation is implementing. So today's education has to be producing leaders. Today's education has to create people who are technologically sound, who can think on their own feet, who can make a difference to the world, who can lead thought. So it is no longer the followers, and therefore today's education has to change to basically where there are more of entrepreneurial outlook that is coming to the students. Solutioning rather than trying to just do a routine task. Throw a problem at me and I will find a solution. And that's what these youngsters have to do because they are going to be the leaders of the world. We are the 4th largest economy now. By the time these youngsters who are graduating from this college or any other college, they take up mid-level positions, we will be the top 2. So it is pertinent now for the education that you instill that confidence, you instill that technological brilliance, you instill that solution architecting capabilities in the students, you instill that confidence. Very importantly, because all this will happen, when India has to lead the world, as our Prime Minister says, as Vishwa Guru, then it has to be on very strong value system. So the education now has to look at the value system imbibing in the education design delivery process far more than what it was done earlier. Because coming tomorrow, when you have the world which will be run by computers and things like that, it is important that there is a good regard to human values.
Fantastic, sir. I think it reminds me of the very point that now the classrooms are no more a place for reading and understanding and learning materials, but rather applying the knowledge. So I think it will be like a student should follow kind of flipped classroom or other kind of various other learning options that they have. I think the classroom with a group of 5, 10, 15 and then of course in large number of 60, they should now engage, utilize the time that is available to them, whatever the working hours of the classes, to, as you rightly mentioned, to find solutions and to actually to track a path of becoming entrepreneur or leader of tomorrow's technology. So fantastic thought, sir. I think you have also highlighted just now, which is actually my other question, on like ethics in engineering, traditional Indian knowledge systems you mentioned, and on the other hand, you said the equality is required. AI is now more a subject, but rather a point of implementation for the students, be it irrespective of the discipline that they are doing and all that. So, what is the balance between the, as you rightly said, it is more important now than earlier, as you rightly mentioned. So, can you please highlight a bit more onto the ethics in engineering versus the innovations in engineering part, sir?
Sure. I think we have to be sensitized as engineers and as citizens of responsible citizens of the world. We have to take care of three things. The first and foremost thing is about the resources. You know, anything that we do has to be such that the resources are consumed to the minimum. For example, as an engineer, both of us being an engineer, there is something called factor of safety. So when you are designing the lifts or when you are designing, let us say, an automobile, we had been always, I accuse the engineering and technology fraternity of over designing and under using and maintaining a device. And I prove this point because if you see an auto rickshaw on the roads of Guwahati, it's there anywhere in the country, the design capacity of auto rickshaw is three at the back and one driver. You go to Paltan Bazaar and in the evening you will find there are 10 people sitting in the auto. That means even with the 10 people the auto is running. Sorry. This means you have over-designed. You have over-designed the chassis, you have over-designed the engine power, which means you are consuming more power, so the more petrol is being consumed than required. Right? There is more steel that has gone into it than required. So first and foremost thing is about resources. The technologists have to be wary about the fact that the world that we inherited is not the world we are going to leave, and therefore this resource management has to be the number one. The second aspect that we need to take care is about the environment. The way we are actually destroying the environment, the results are now there, they are very catastrophic. In Assam, there is a issue that we had been facing is about the Brahmaputras eating into the river banks. This ferocious river, if someday it eats its bank, it can take half the Assam. Therefore, you need to take care of the river, the flow. Now, this is happening because there is a lot of siltation that is taking place in the river. That is why the river is flowing out of the banks. For thousands of millions of years, it has flown without going out. Now, we are spoiling the river by dumping unwanted things into the river. And therefore, the river is going to take this. So, this is one thing we have to understand about the environment. It's jokingly said that we have two ladies here in the room and they have their children going to school. So today mama will give the school bag, mama will give the tiffin that the child will eat and will give bottle of water. 20 years later, the mama will also give a bottle of oxygen because there will be no air to breathe. So mama will say, have you taken your oxygen bottle, because how will the child breathe? Look at the world we are going to get into. You know, the indiscriminate usage of automobiles, the other things that we have to consider. If you can walk, why do you use a vehicle? Our ancestors had been walking the same distances. It's not that. So I think the second thing is about our the entire system has to take care, education system, about the environment. So resources, environment is the second one. Third one I would talk about is inclusivity. And inclusivity means that you should be using the resources in the right manner. Right now there is a lot of variation between the people who have and the people who have not. The moment this ratio goes beyond 1:10, the world is heading for a problem. What we are facing everywhere, other than the ideological or the political differences that they are having, is also the resource and the differences of somebody is earning more, somebody is earning less. And then the people start thinking, what wrong have I done? Why is he getting so much and why am I not getting? This is how the Roman Revolution took place. This is how the revolutions have, the Renaissance and the, all the industrial revolutions and all have taken place. So I think inclusive growth is another important aspect that needs to be considered in education. So resources, environment and inclusivity.
Fantastic, sir. I think maybe I would like to ask the next question. Resources, sustainability, environment and inclusive growth. So may I say that probably the one initiative I have to ask you which gave you a lot of satisfaction and pride. So may I mention like maybe educating people, students for that matter, into environment, sustainability, inclusivity and resources. Would these areas be like the initiatives that you have taken into these areas are the one that gave you the most satisfaction?
Yes, the simple answer is yes. Yes, it did give me a lot of satisfaction. For example, that one of the projects that we had been working in Uttarakhand right now, and it was basically about what is called pine needles. So what happens, these pine trees, they don't have leaves. So their leaves solidify and they drop as needles. These needles, when they cover the ground, they block the water from seeping from the ground to the down below. Then the water slips over the needles and flows down. It doesn't go into the ground. And as a result, the water table gets depleted. See, look at in Kaziranga where I was working, 10 feet the water used to come out. Dehradun, 400 feet the water doesn't come. That is the difference. So basically it is because of these water not being properly handled. It was happening because of pine needles. So one project that we worked was collect these pine needles. The government of Uttarakhand helped us do it, gave incentives to villagers to pick up the needles. Now what do you do with these needles? So we converted them into first briquettes and they are used as a fuel in a chula. And now we have actually advanced ourselves to, we convert those pine needles into liquid fuel and it runs in stove. So these are the kind of projects that have given me that kind of satisfaction where you work with the environment. We are working on projects of reviving the rivers in Uttarakhand which are drying up by building the right check dams at the right place. Plastic to petrol is another project that we took with reverse distillation so that the plastic waste can be handled and so on and so forth. So I think science has given us the ways. I think what we need to do is to have a will to look at these sustainability projects.
Fantastic, sir. Now let us move on to the next section, which is very much onto the sustainability and environment and all that. Let me ask the question right from the starting point, sir. You are the advisor, senior advisor for the sustainable energy transition. So could you please elaborate on the roles that you have handled in this?
So basically this, my advisory role is basically to the government of Uttarakhand and also to my own university. For government of Uttarakhand is these, as a part of my role, these the two examples that I had taken with you was I just mentioned. One of the other aspect that I have given basically is about replanning the city life in Dehradun. Now, at different point of time, you have very different kind of traffic conditions. GS Road at 8 o'clock in the morning is different from GS Road, I am talking of your Guwahati Shillong Road. 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 10 o'clock in the night, these are different profiles. It will take you only 20 minutes from here to reach late in the evening, early in the morning. But it can take you an hour plus when you are going during the day. Which is now becoming that there is a traffic jam, because of which there is pollution, because of which there are problems that come to environment and also for the people's life and so on and so forth. So can things be done by staggering the office timings, by making some one ways, and so Bombay, they did try this, and it did work. In Delhi also they are trying, to understand traffic galleries, and that's what we are doing in Dehradun. So that you should have the regulatory of the traffic, and today it is possible. India, we are the champions in satellite. There can be a satellite image which can give you which roads are filled. So automatically it diverts you to the place where you can possibly avoid traffic congestion. So from very simple thing like traffic management to sewage management to water management, water is not available to some people to drink, water is being wasted somewhere else. So all these things I think need to be through technology can be regulated.
Fantastic, sir. I think use of satellites and use of technology to enhance the sustainable futures is the theme today. I think, sir, going back to the same point, we have already discussed a number of challenges which are actually pressing for us in India today. Could you please, are there any more challenges which are actually yet to be addressed from the sustainability perspective?
I think the main challenge is about the mindset.
Mindset.
See, basically we have to be all sensitized. Whatever I have told you is nothing that I have discovered or we have discovered new things. Frankly speaking, today we are talking of sustainability. Our forefathers, they were all sustainable. My grandfather and his great-grandfather will not go to market without a jhola or thela, whatever you call it in Assamese. It was made out of a cloth. Cloth, the old shirt has now become a bag. So when he will go to market, he will take that bag. So was there any question of reusable plastics? There was nothing like it. You want to go and get milk, people used to carry the can, get the milk from the milk vendor and bring it. There was no question of plastic bottles and things like that. So basically it's the mindset that you tell yourself that you are going to be ensuring the things I talked about, resources and inclusivity, and don't waste anything. I think waste is anything saved is anything gained, whether it is energy, whether it is water, and these are going to be very crucial resources.
Exactly, sir. Agreed upon. Yeah. Sir, I think we have talked about how the current trend of engineering institutions should be, how the student should imbibe the technological skills and all that. Now, of course, with reference to the significance of sustainability and environment and inclusivity, what you have already highlighted, how do these engineering institutions, our institutions and our students, should be made to cope up or maybe to understand with all these significant challenges? So how can we actually bring in the problems that we have surrounding us in the society, in the environment and all that, whatever we are facing in the industry, how can we actually enable our students to appreciate these issues and probably find the solutions? Of course, entrepreneurship is one way where they can find solutions, and then how can our curriculum or the students can actually work on applying, finding out solutions to this problem, sir?
Absolutely. So I'll suggest that every teacher should take a pledge that 30% of my course will be practice oriented. If I am teaching management and I am teaching them about salesman skill, then I don't have to teach them in the class or show them film. I have to just teach them, go to Paltan Bazaar, go to fancy market, go to these places and see how that vendor is selling, see how that shopkeeper is selling, make notes, understand, draw your own lessons and so on and so forth. So challenge the youngsters. The best part is we have got the best youth in the world. Our youth is the most intelligent youth. Talk an average Indian student to average American student, our student is much more brilliant, much more dynamic. Challenge them. I think to these youngsters is you don't tell them do this. Tell them this is what is my problem, you please do it, and they will find solutions. So I think this challenging students to finding solutions in whatever you do, whether it is mechanics, whether it is physics, chemistry, whether it is management, whatever.
Fine, sir. I think open-ended problems
Yes.
to be provided to the students.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Yeah, how again, I think as you rightly mentioned, now that we are challenging the students to acquire the skills, to find the solutions, how do they can further contribute towards the net zero policy of the India in terms of reducing the carbon emissions and all that, and related technologies towards SDGs and all that, sir?
Prevention is better than cure. Rather than trying to find a solution after pollution has taken place, is not to avoid polluting.
Okay.
And this is what we need to sensitize people. That's what I said. If you can walk, please walk. Why do you take your car or a scooter? If you can take a public transport, then why do you have to use a private? There could be reasons for somebody to take. Now, I think this is where the Europe is a good example, that they use public transportation much more. In Delhi, it has started happening now after the metro has come, and I'm sure. So basically, to get into this net, it's basically a mindset that we need to start inculcating into students through case studies, through challenging them, through putting them into the projects, and through simple thing that I do and everybody follows. Every time I walk out of my office, I switch off all the lights and I switch off air conditioning. Everybody knows the Chancellor doesn't walk out without switching them off. In the whole year, I may save 2 kilowatts, but that's a 2 kilowatts saved. If a country of such a big thing saves, you're saved megawatts, gigawatts as a whole, and that much you have produced. So I think it is basically the sensitization towards not polluting, towards not adding to the carbon credit, rather than trying to find credits.
Fantastic, sir. I think the implementation, implementation is the first step, whereby if everybody does, I think we have already achieved our goals.
Yes.
That's
yes.
really great to hear from you, sir. I think before I go ahead, sir, I just wanted to because you are also into the management beyond implementing management, using management for the technological developments and all that. Now, when we talk about the intersection of many times in management also we talk about policies and framework, wherein technology, society, as we have been talking about, and the policy makers like the governments, which we are referring to. So how do you find the intersections or the unison between the technology developed and the society that we have, as well as the policies that we have from the government? So what kind of unison, or what is that intersection of all these three segments that you feel would add or enhance the sustainability perspective, sir?
I think the present government is actually a good example of that kind of collaboration between the society and the technology providers and the regulators is already happening. The government does circulate the papers before they are trying to implement a new policy, and it is circulated to people, and then their comments are opted. So I think basic idea is collaboration. More and more collaboration should take place. It starts happening from the college level. More and more government people, industry people should come and talk to the students. That's when they pick up the first-hand information. More and more faculty should get involved in the policy making exercise when the governments are doing. Faculty should get involved with the industry. Then that kind of collaboration will take place.
Fantastic, sir. I think I'm in fully agreement with you that things have already been taking place at a rapid pace, and I'm sure I think all the fruits of development that were initiated will definitely be going to the last mile of the beneficiary. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Sir, we are into the last lap of our podcast. So I just wanted to ask you, for the benefit of our viewers, must be if they are students, what is that one skill that you would advise to our students to adopt, to understand?
I think the skill that I would like all the students to acquire is solutioning.
Solutioning.
Basically, for every problem, they should try to find their own way of solutions, rather than trying to copy somebody else's. So basically an analytical mind with that solutioning motive is something which will make the students better students.
Fantastic, sir. I think I'll also take this point away, and then definitely I'll go to the class and inform my students that analytical mind and of course the ability to provide solutions is the hallmark for today's students, graduates, for them to be, of course, to be recruited by the industry, sir. And sir, we are into the end of it. I just wanted to ask the one final question, sir. What next for you?
Brilliance, I think that next to me is in whichever way I can contribute to the betterment of the higher education system in the country by way of collaborating with the institutions which want to go to the next level is something that I would like to work with. That at UPS we are doing extremely well. We are already, I'm not saying that we have arrived at UPS, we continuous, but now is the time that I start sharing this kind of an experience with even others, those who are trying to move up to the next orbit.
Fantastic, sir. Thank you so much for being with us and for educating us, enlightening us with your wonderful thoughts. I wish you all the best, sir, for your future endeavors, and great. Good luck to you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for this very lovely podcast. Yes. Once again, I would like to thank the Assam Downtown University and the management for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you, sir.
God bless.
Have a great day, sir.
Thank you.